Hello, today's lesson is on how to find the whole when you are given a part and a percent, how to find the whole using a percent proportion. So you're given a situation, a real world problem where they give you have a part of something and that part is worth such percent. Today we're going to practice how do you find what the total is, right? So if you recall, in our lesson for finding the part, we're going to use a percent proportion again. So our percent proportion always follows this format. You always have your part out of whole equals to percent out of 100. So today's lesson is going to focus on what do you do when you have the whole missing. We're going to do 2 practice problems together. And then the last question, I'm going to read it to you and set it up for you and help guide you because it's going to be your exit ticket question for the day. So the first question that we're going to look at, we're going to read it together and make sure that you're always annotating. So we have, at Paulson Middle School, 75% of the 6th grade class is making a B or higher. If there are 21 students making a B or higher, then how many students are in the class? So the very first step that I'm going to do is I'm going to first find, before I even set up my percent proportion, I'm going to find what is the part, what is the whole, and what is the percent. The percent is the easiest one to find. It literally says 75% there. So I'm going to put it in my percent. Then for my part, or my whole, it says there's 21 students that made a B or higher, and 75% made a B or higher. Therefore, my part is 21. They want to know how many students are in the class and how many kids are in the class if only 21 made a B or higher. Then what about the other ones? How much are there in total? Therefore, I will put an X for my whole. I don't know what it is. Remember that we always put a variable to represent an unknown variable, an unknown value. I'm going to set up my proportion. My proportion is always part out of whole, as you can see here. Part out of whole equal to percent out of 100. So let me set that up. Part out of whole, so I have 21. That was my part. X is my whole. 75 is my percent, and 100 on the bottom always. Next, as you recall yesterday, in our past lesson on how to find the part, we always use what we call cross product, and some students refer to it as the butterfly because it literally looks like a butterfly. So I have 75 times X. We multiply. This is 75X. Then I have 100 times 21. Every time you multiply by 100, I simply just put my number, which is 21, and add 2 zeros at the end. Next, I want to make sure that X is isolated. I want to leave that by itself. How can I make X isolated? Well, I have to do the opposite. So I want to find out 75 times what gives me 2,100. So the only way to do that is if I divide this by 75, and I also divide the other side by 75. This gives me X. And when I do 2,100 divided by 75, that gives me 28. So I want to make a note to you that this just means 2,100 divided by 75, and that equals 28. So I have this here now. X equals 28. What does it mean for X to be equal to 28? That means that is how many students there is in the class. That is how many total students there are in the class. So I can say there are 28 students in the class. Perfect. Now, let's take a look at another example problem, and then we're going to proceed to our practice problem that you will do on your own. So here I have the campus demographics include 480 female students. So this is how many are girls. This represents 64% of the student body. So the females are 64% of the entire student body. How many students are enrolled? Notice that it's asking me for how many students are enrolled, meaning like I know that these are the amount of females. Well, how many are males? And together females and males make the total. So now I'm going to go ahead and set up my part, whole, and percent. So I got my part, my whole, and my percent. My percent is 64%. My part is 480. Why? Because that's how many females there is. And my whole is X because I don't know how many students there is in total. Step 2, set up that proportion. Remember, it's always part out of whole. Part out of whole. So therefore, I'm going to put 480 out of X and 64 out of 100. Part out of whole is equal to percent out of 100, just like a percent proportion states. Next, I'm going to butterfly cross multiplication. 64 times X is equal to 480 times 100 is going to be, remember what I said, just add the zeros of the 100. It's going to be 480, add 2 zeros. Now you have 48,000. Now, I want to isolate the X. How can I isolate the X? I have to get rid of whatever's with the X, which is 64, by doing the opposite. Divide both sides by 64. X is equal to, let's do 48,000 divided by 64. X is equal to 750. So what does it mean for X to be 750? It means that that is how many students are enrolled. That's my total, that's my whole. So when I write a sentence, I can put 750 students are enrolled. This is my total. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at our practice problem. This is the one that is going to be on your exit ticket. We have Donnie completed 85% of his field goal attempts last season. If he attempted 60 field goals, how many did he make? So basically it's saying 85% is what he attempted to make. He attempted to make 60 field goals. So how many did he make? Okay. In this one, I'm going to help you understand what does it mean to be missing the part or the whole. So let's go ahead and set up the part, the percent, and the whole. Notice that I have 85% here. Then it says he attempted to make 60 goals. So that's how many he tried to make in total. So I'm going to go ahead and put that as my whole. So in this case, we're not missing our part. We're not given our part. We're actually missing our part because this is how many he tried to make in total. You want to find out, well, how many did he make, right? So it's all about thinking about what is the situation telling me? What is the story trying to tell me? Is it giving me a part? Is it giving me a whole? Am I missing that or am I missing the other? It's all about making sure that you are reading your text. Okay? This concludes our practice video for today. Your exit ticket will be linked in Teams, so please make sure that you click it so you can complete it for the day. And have a great day, guys. I will see you in tomorrow's lesson.